Hi, everybody. It is time for the awesome Hidden Bastion Spider previews. I'm Paul. That's Jesse.
What's up,
We're
everybody?
just getting right in.
I have a
So
special
excited.
announcement today. Hold on. If you guys look right here, you'll see there's a light outside. So this is a very special edition of card reviews for me, because it is not 12 at the night. But sucks for
Yeah,
you, Paul.
that's right. I'm taking one for the team, and I'm staying up late. But it felt thematically appropriate. It felt like if I'm going to
That's right.
review the evil Dark Spider, my beloved faction, I should do it sort of when it's all quiet and dark, and I'm out, plotting my crime. So here we are. So this is the Stronghold, and it's actually a little bit different. Jesse, did you quickly spot the differences?
Yeah, it's got an extra point of province strength on both sides, and the fear is a little better on the back. So I can scroll down. Can you guys? Yep. Here's the back side. It's also a trait.
Incredibly relevant, right? And sort of confusing to me that they made that switch. They specifically had it as a Tyrese Dynasty effect in Ivory, probably to help get us familiar with the concept of a Dynasty action. Um, and they turned it into a trait, which I have to assume it's because of like future Sensei interactions.
Hmm.
But this has a little bit of a nombo with Famous Bizarre, which is a who that's a womp womp for me. But if
Yeah.
we ever get a sensei that's like remove abilities, it'll just take off the Fear 4, not the trait. So I think it's good that they switched it, but I also think it's very odd that design moved specifically into this place where they wanted everything to sort of be actions. They didn't want just these sort of triggered traits. And
Hmm.
now we've got all kinds of triggered traits. We've got actions that create triggered traits, I guess. Someone was telling me the line guy that we love so much, that's like when you gain honor, interrupt it, negate the gain. Apparently he doesn't work in multiples. That's what I was told, because you can only negate the gain once, and then the other negates of create. And I don't actually know if how that's going to shake out, but it's really sort of bothersome to me. It's like we went through the effort to make interrupts as an action effect, and now we have sort of these traity interrupts. I think it's kind of, we see it in the dragons too.
Yeah.
So I mean, pickle lane design, typically
So
templating.
yeah, I'm hoping we'll get a fiat ruling actually about Famous Bazaar in this. But even if we don't, this is a really strong box. I think one point of province strength is huge. I played Merchant Atoll for a
Yep.
lot in last arc out of Spider, and going from 7 to 8, 8 to 9 was big game. People would just not know what to do when they came up against the 8 or the 9.
And Fear 4 is bigger than Fear 3, but I don't think that Spider's weakness was ever about the Stronghold, right? The
Yeah.
Stronghold has always been gas. Everybody, I don't think anyone was actually saying the Stronghold's not good enough. And if they were, they're doing it in this very passive, like, well, against Honor and Dishonor, it's not enough. But the Stronghold is great. This Stronghold is great. I'm very happy with it. No complaints.
All right. Now let's get to something we can't complain about. Our unique here,
Yeah,
Daigatsu Atsushi. Um,
so previewed a long time ago, right? When I mean these came in I got my foil one from the holiday pack, and I was gonna talk a little bit about this card, 2 months ago on the site, sort of what I thought it portended for 20 festivals, and it's too depressing, Jesse. I don't think I can carry on. I think you're gonna have to do this one solo, because I just get so sad every time.
well, we can do a straight numbers breakdown. 10 gold for 4 fours. That's about a 3 gold, 3 to 4 gold premium you're paying over an ordinary personality, with an obnoxious random honor loss tacked on, and then a fear 3. Now the fear can get bigger, and he gets token force for winning duels. So that's not terrible. And we sort of saw that mechanic a little bit in the Obsidian Keeper from Coils of Madness, the crane guy that
Yep,
every time he duel got 2 force. And
sure,
that guy could get
Hideo.
really
Yep,
big.
sure,
He could get really big. It's just that, first off, 1 force is not 2 force. And second off, to
correct.
make this guy numbers efficient, you need to duel twice. If he's 10 gold for 6 force, then you've got me on board. So like you buy him out, then he's got to duel twice, and then he's at a size where I feel okay about him existing. And I don't know that, like, you pay 10 gold and then you play 2 fate cards and you get a 6 force guy. Like, why don't I just buy a 5 gold guy and attach 2 force followers for 3 gold, and then have paid like pretty much the same gold cost for more force?
Right. So Hideo's a pretty interesting comparison, right? So obviously it was coils, and you don't want to get too much reaching back into other arcs. But Hideo came out at 5 gold. This guy is 10 gold. That's
Yeah.
twice as much, right? And like you can look at the card and see the lines and the throughputs and sort of get the idea of like, well, this guy's pretty good because he's a 4-chi duelist and he'll win duels and he'll get a little bigger and he'll have a fair effect and he'll do things and he'll trigger your sense. The problem is most of the time in my military deck, I would rather just have, Fushiku no Oni and then like a +2/+1 item. And so, I just
Yeah.
it's just each individual effect is of minimal impact, and lining up all of the if doesn't actually the juice is not worth the squeeze, is this cliche I've started saying a lot when talking about card reviews, and I don't know where it comes from.
We've talked,
Frustrating.
or I've talked a lot about fear effects too, of arbitrarily large fear effects not being
Yeah.
of all that, and so this sounds gets arbitrarily large as nothing. I think my main complaint with this card is that it just doesn't feel like a unique. I think that if the unique
Yep.
trait was scrubbed off this card, I would not blink an eye.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you made a point about the lose to honor, and it's just there to like force me to play the sensei to lose a province strength. Like, I don't understand it very much from a flavor standpoint. I don't like this card. I understand that they're trying to develop the theme, and the idea of the infamy tokens is actually pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that, hey, it's fair dueling, so we'll also give him a fair effect. Okay, that makes sense. But numbers matter on cards, and this guy just, I mean, every dual deck's going to play him because reasons, but they probably shouldn't.
For sure. All right, let's get off of that. Let's talk about some military guys. Daigatsu Hachiko here.
A perfect example of numbers matter. Half as expensive and therefore twice as playable, right? So
Absolutely.
instead of some fair effect and bonus trait force gains, I lose only 1 honor and I'm reserve. Great card, good numbers, and will be the foundational card of every Spider dual deck, and will be in most Spider military decks because reserves are a real trait, right? And you can
Sometimes.
just
Yeah, I think this
well,
guy's great. I think he's
for
a fine
offense, right?
duelist. He's got 3/4, so you're right. He'll see play early on, but I
One
think this
honor.
is like an 18th to 21st guy. I don't think this is going to be top of the roster. I think he's last in and first out in a normal Spider military deck.
Right. So I'm saying for all the dual decks, he's like number one with a bullet because he's affordable, and
Mm-hmm.
and then in normal military decks, yeah, I mean he's just a little bit better than your other. There's military decks are built around like 3 force guys for 5, and this guy gives you a little bit of chi, so sort of dueling resistance and reserve. So
Yep,
perfectly
agreed.
perfectly fine card, and probably a draft all star.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely a draft all star. Let's talk about Daigatsu
Okay.
cleavage here.
Yeah, with the sort of like Medusa hair.
Is it
I'm
tied up
thinking.
in the tree? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I'm thinking. By the way, Medusa Inhuman Marvel comic book, not Snake Medusa. Please don't write me a
Oh
letter.
yeah, of course. Let's clarify.
That's right. Yeah, so this is one of those ones where it's sort of interesting, right? So the first thing that jumps out at me, I look at my numbers as I always do, and they're okay for a Shugenja. It's a battle ability that doesn't require bowing, which is
Hmm.
really nice. But it's also a battle ability that's sort of dependent upon personal honor.
Yeah.
And like if it's 0, you get poison tokens, and that's really cool.
Well,
So
it was force is
it's
0. You
hard.
get poison tokens.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's hard to gauge the strength of this. I think most of the time it's battle give a guy -1 or 2 force, and that's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Um, and as a guy who loves Spider Shugenja, I'm pretty disappointed, but I don't think this actually makes it into any decks. The poison token, does that, is there some like ninja synergy out of Spider or something? I don't think so. It's all reaching around my head to touch my nose.
Absolutely. And like, if this were a minus, I don't know. Like, so he's 0 force, and I'm giving him. If you make a guy 0 force, he gets a -1 force token. I don't understand that. at all.
Well, it gives a minus chi token, right?
I
So
understand
there's
that,
that
but
Speeding Webs card, and then you do more ninja
no, I get
actions.
it. I get it. I get it. I'm just. You
Yeah,
see what I'm saying
it's
here? That
yep.
like this, all it is a -1 chi token, and -1
That
chi
just
tokens are terrible. It's demonstratively like just a fact throughout the course of
yeah
1-5 bar.
the tossing out the poison token is to me just pure flavor. You're never gonna trigger it and set it up for an unexplained illness or whatever. Like that's just to me flavor.
Okay,
The reason for the card is you
minus.
desperately want a Shugenja, but that doesn't matter because there's all kinds of awesome unaligned Shugenja you can play.
Yep.
I mean, I can just play the Banished who's Void and bows to strengthen the fifth ring and has Resilience. So like that's not. There's no reason to go to her there. So then it's just the battle ability, and it's not any good unless you went against a very specific sort of deck, and it's not going to be representative enough of it. Yeah, she's
If
just out. Just
if you
terrible
know
rare.
if you know that the best player in your playgroup is drafting like Lion Crane, go ahead and scoop her up.
Yep, that's about. She's a rare too. She's terrible. I mean, she's a dud.
All right, let's get cheery again. Daigatsu Kendo,
Kendo.
3 fours, 5 gold, Conqueror. I'm done.
Yep, he's their
Awesome
Emperor
card.
Edition promo guy. He's been good. He's been good in Ivory. He was actually played some at the end of Emperor Edition. Not that anyone was playing. He's what you want, and he's the sort of token commander of Spider. So when commanders start to come together, this guy's just all gas, and there's nothing to complain about. No obnoxious honor requirements. You know, a really nice sort of
Even
recent pass card.
even a commander, so you can use your little timely arrival card to put him back into the province if that trade ever comes online. It'd be good. But yeah, awesome card. Nothing to complain about. Not a lot to say either. He can't hold up plague zombies very well. That's my only complaint.
So after we get our cool sort of late Emperor Edition card, there's our other Emperor Edition reprint with Daigatsu Ryoko. Never was played in Spider before, won't be played in Spider now. Net force negative. Sure, it's destined, but this isn't what Spider does. They're not the pew pew melee attacks. Fallen doesn't mean it's just terrible.
I'm gonna take the other side of this one. This is a clan shifted version of Daidoji Tobai, who is the Fallen.
Right, but there's carrier. 4. There's a crab one too, right? And
okay, but what I'm saying is that guy was really, really good in the follower heavy Philippines deck I played a lot last arc. And I think that style of deck, especially with Gunso, that we'll talk about in the follower review, could be really strong early on in this arc, and she would be a good piece that would fit into a Spider version of that deck.
Right, but the Spider version of that deck is missing so many other tools. So there was a big cycle of these cards, these 3 2-for-7s that make a melee or range 2 attack. I think Unicorn had one as well. And it turns out the Crane one was the best, because when you do a cycle of cards, sometimes the Crane one is the best.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, fair enough, but Destin isn't nothing. That's all I'm trying to point out. And like 7 gold for 3 force is a point inefficient, but the Fate card is big. And if you're playing a deck that needs gas, that can effectively use gas. I think one problem with Destin cards, and we're going to see this a lot.
Spider have cheaper Destin personalities, though. I think you're so wrong. I think this is just like back of the binder, terrible card.
Okay. And she's a rare too. She's going in the binder. I mean, I agree that she's definitely a niche card. If you're playing a deck that can effectively use all your Fate cards, and I think that we're going to see a lot of discarding on turns 2 and 3 in this arc because of the Temple, the 1-for-1 Destined card. Of people like buying 2-1-1 and then going to 9 cards and discarding down. If you're playing a deck that can actually play out your hand really quickly and keep playing out every card you draw, this card isn't that bad.
Okay, so saith Jesse. I'm way big thumbs down for me all the way through on that one.
All right, I got you. So next up,
Sharu, another one of our duelists, and this is one of those cards you talked about that gives out. Like a duelist with a built-in duel effect, and we're starting to see these sorts of more where it's like it's a battle ability, but the primary battle ability is just start a duel, and then from duels things will happen. Obviously, the interaction with the sensei, but this one forces a focus, so you can trigger a focus effect, and then you gain a thirdly point of force. So if it gets to be where there's a dueling shell where like there's an awesome focus effect. I don't know what it would be. You know, this card when focus, destroy the other guy in the duel or something. Like, okay. But for me, this is just sort of a pointless little battle ability that I don't really want to use all that often. I guess it bleeds a card off the top of their deck.
Yeah. Well, we've still got Deny the False Form. If you could give this guy a couple more points of chi, then you could Deny the False Form and kill their guy.
And kill your guy as well. That's
right, but it's not ideal. I'm just trying to think of what we can do with him. It'd be like it's exactly like played Burning Spirit, then you can't challenge. So yeah, this is a really powerful ability if we find something that lets us do something with.
Yeah, and so right now we have the Spider Sensei. It's just a card that's there to trigger on the Spider Sensei,
Right.
and maybe in time more focus effects will come out. Some sort of yeah, that's about all I can get. So I guess enlightenment maybe is there like an enlightenment? You know, they have to focus. You could challenge someone who's above you in chi and still maybe get your Earth out.
Maybe. I eagerly await you to build that deck. I'm certainly not doing it. Daigatsu Zenshi. I have a lot to say about this guy. I think that he's a terrible card right now that's going to define the format in 3 sets.
I just like that he's a non-duelist who gives me a 4 honor hit, just in case you ever thought Spider might be able to one day beat Dishonor. Here's this guy.
So this blanket.
So I was all, let's just increase your chance of winning by 25%. It's like they take
Absolutely.
a province when you. It's really
when this guy comes out, destroy your province. Great trait on a guy that costs 0 gold for 6 force. Not so good on a guy that's 7 gold for 4 force. The thing I love about this guy is that it's a blanket force bonus, and it's not just followers, it's cards. So if you're running an all undead deck, then this is just like +5, +6, +7 force. And that's totally awesome. You can copy this ability with Inspired Leadership, with Ninja Shapeshifter. And I feel like I envision a deck if we get a sort of critical mass of undead stuff, especially followers.
Oh, and we have some, right? We've got Voitagi in this set. We got Skeletal Troops. We've got Unliving Legion as a card we're really excited about.
Yeah, that's the card. That's the big deal card in the deck now because it makes all the 1/1, the 1 force puns to get his force bonus. Like,
right.
This is a better version of Family Dojo in the right deck. And Family Dojo was oppressively powerful. And so you look at the card and it looks sort of silly and stupid. It's like, oh, undead cards, who cares? 4 honor hit is huge. But if this card ever comes together, it will be format definingly oppressive.
Yep. And it's just a question of, do we get that saturation of undead followers? And is the honor loss, does it sort of take you out of the game at some point? But I agree that this is a card that I think it's very easy to look at and say it doesn't fit anywhere. It doesn't really do much. But if it becomes a build-around personality, that's not going to be a happy time for people running against this deck. When you start hearing Miyukin copies undead, you're in for a wacky ride.
Absolutely. So keep an eye on this guy. I would grab my playset now, while nobody cares, and then in 2 or 3 sets. And there is a little bit of this undead stuff floating around, so I could see an undead sensei up the road, something that would mitigate the honor hits, or if they reprinted zombie troops or something, I'd just be over the moon.
Okay, and so I think that's your sort of unsung hero. Next up is sort of my unsung hero.
I'm singing. What do you mean unsung? There's no not singing.
I think at this point, coming into 20, pre-20 festivals and a lot of Ivory Strict and even Ivory, I thought the card Ambush was really, really underplayed. This guy is not ambushed the way you want him to because it doesn't kill things at battle resolution, but he does let you pick off some spots and play some very specific kill actions. And I think this guy is great. I think it's a really cool ability. The fact that it's in open is really interesting. It can sort of mess with your opponents to, during your turn, I attack you is not something that we get to. I mean, I guess you had plans within Plans Ambush once upon a time, but it can really be disruptive. And I think this card's really cool and very flavorful and fun in this idea of they come out of the darkness and attack you. It's a great ninja card. Is it powerful? I don't know yet. I need to get some reps in, but I can certainly envision any number of games where this guy is a shining all-star.
I think one thing to note with this guy is that if you're playing him out of Scorpion with the Sensei, he has no honor loss on his ability.
That's cute.
And
Yeah. It's a
so
ninja.
there might be some sort of infinite ambush you build around. Like give him the follower that makes him a conqueror and some sort of battle action, like a melee attack or a ranged attack, and then like ambush you, ambush you, ambush you, ambush you, ambush you. Just go nuts, so ambushing every single turn. If there's a way to give him naval, that'd be extra excellent. I don't think there is at the moment, but this is something to keep your eyes out. This is the kind of card that, like, when it comes out, there's some cute shenanigans you can do with it, but as our card pool grows and grows, he'll only get better.
Absolutely, and I can see just all kinds of scenarios where I just, you're getting ready to attack me, and I use him first, and maybe bleed out some of your Fate hand effects, and just interesting stuff. It's a card that's going to need a couple of reps to sort of see what starts happening with it, but it's pretty awesome, right?
And you want to know what card really synergizes with this guy? You're gonna hate it.
What?
Ring of Fire.
Does it? Yeah, maybe it does. I think you could be right, and
Like
they
you
win.
attack, you play something like the world fades away. What's the kata that lets me move home and lose 1 honor, and you like
sure.
ambush, Ring of Fire.
Well, I don't. Why do I even have to run away? Like I ambush your bigger guy. You're like,
Fire,
okay, I pass.
pass.
I Ring of Fire, pass. Nothing dies in resolution, and then your
die.
guy dies from Ring of Fire. Wow, look at that. So all it took was this really weird ninja open to make Ring of Fire almost have positive value. Okay, well there you go. All done.
Goji Mitsuru. 4 gold for 2 force. It goes to 4 force sometimes. I think this guy's better than he looks, but he doesn't look very good.
Right. So I mean, I do think because I play a little bit more of these attacky decks, I think maybe I have a fondness for reserve that you do not. So the problem is when I see a 4 gold ninja, I'm like, well, that's not as good as Shiho, which is completely absurd because Shiho is insane and you can't compare anybody to Shiho. He's fine, but I think that only for the ninja trait would you even think about this guy, and I think there's enough other ninjas for spider decks, and I think for military decks there's just going to be a lot of... I mean, Spider does not lack for options at the 4 gold price point, so why bother with, sometimes not turned on +2 force?
Yeah, these opposed force bonuses can be dangerous. You always put guys like this in your deck thinking, well, he's going to be 4 force. 4 force for 4 gold is good. Until you're stuck on like a turn 3 or 4 and you've got a window to attack and you have 6 force on board. Like 5 force on board. And that's never where you want to be. So I personally tend to shy away from these sort of non-opposed force type of cards.
Yeah, and it's just value, right? Would you rather have him, or would you rather have the 2/2 guy that can move back in, or the monk duelist guy that we'll be getting to as the Fear 4 effect at 2/2 for 4, or Shiho? I just think he gets priced out.
Okay.
On to the Dragon Child, Jirushi, EXP2. We love different versions of Yurishi. This is probably the coolest battle ability I think so far that I've seen in 20 festivals. Is there an ability you think is cooler than this? I really like this. It's so... I mean, I target you if you're 0/4s or have nothing going on. I make a guy. And
I mean, like, this guy can be huge blowouts.
He takes away abilities, and he makes a guy, and the guy stays around. I mean, I love him. I have no idea if it's good enough, but I think
you play him. 9 gold for 4 force is bad, but defensible, and Battle Bow is about as good as it gets. And this is like an awesome ability to copy with your inspired leaderships, I think.
Yeah.
I think this guy's perfectly good.
Maybe I'll get to copy him with Ninja Shapeshifter and make a bunch of guys in one turn off of something. I mean, it's not EXP who couldn't be targeted by other actions, and it's not regular guy from Second City who moved around like crazy, but it's still pretty awesome.
For sure.
And fun, cool, flavorful card. I'm happy that it's my fixed card. You go, Yurishi.
Yep, this guy even feels a little bit like a unique, like making a guy and having him stick around is an ability you see all the time. Okay, let's get back to our monks here.
The Koga and I was talking. So, Monk is a good trait. Duelist, I don't think you care at all, except for like you can run it with the Sensei and others on. But Fear 4, and I don't love Fear 4s, but I'm much more comfortable with a Fear 4 on my 2 for 4 guy than I am on, say, my 4 3 for 7 guy.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about this guy. 2 chi on a duelist is a little bit weird, and 4 gold for 2 forces. I think you covered it. If you're looking for a Fear 4 ability, it's good. I want to talk about the flavor text. I thought Kokujin was coming back, maybe. I guess this is saying he's still dead.
Yeah, I don't. Kokujin proclaimed to be immortal, so maybe his spirit is bouncing around, a very sort of Solar Shiba type thing, and he just floats through the ether and pops up in people's places. I don't really know what's going on with Kokujin. I don't think we're supposed to know, but I think this guy too will really fill out some of those, like, here's all the 4 gold cost guy spider decks. You know, I love you, Gunjo. You're cool. I just wish you were a Kensei.
I'm gonna break on the
Like
other side of this. Sure, yeah. We can talk about Lachey. This is just a straight reprint.
Yep. He was good before. He will be good again. Just if the weapons are there, the Kensei's at 2 force are always a little wacky because you give them 2 weapons and they're still only like 5 or 6 force. But one of the things that Kensei decks really need is a guy who can just keep showing up to battle. The fact that he gets built up and he says, no, I'm still here. I'm still here, guys. I'm still here, is really good.
Yeah.
I kind of hope they would give his home battle absent, but what can you do?
Can't win them all. This card, though, his power revolves around the power of items. And he holds demolishers really well, so that's something. Just that Kensei has taken such a big hit since this sort of new world design began, where we don't do big one-handed weapons.
Yep, and I don't. That's not going anywhere. That's not changing, and I don't think Spider Kensei is a theme that's going to be coming together in 20 festivals. And I don't think this is a card that'll ever be in like a tournament-winning deck. But it's a fine card. You don't begrudge its space in the set.
Well, I mean, I talked about follower-heavy stuff too. Like maybe it's wrong to focus on the Kensei part of it. Like you can easily hold a bunch of followers. You can easily
true.
do
Yeah,
a lot
no,
of
absolutely.
Stuff. So just something to keep in mind. It's a potent battle ability, and it's something to keep in mind. Let's talk about goblins.
Yeah, so the other commander for Spider from the set, 3 for 4. That's as good as you're gonna get.
I mean, that's excellent numbers.
He has expendable, and he has non-human, so you can play the event that gives him a bonus. And this guy's gas, man. I mean, this is what goblins are: cheap, efficient dudes.
Absolutely. So he's the second goblin we have now. We've got Capo XP and this guy. Goblins are pretty good so far.
Yep.
So maybe we'll see a return of like, what was the holding that you played out as the Suno decks that you could put the guys underneath and pop them out for their force.
Yeah, maybe we'll see a return of Wrath of Kalima getting out goblins. That would be fair, right?
I'm talking about the holding, but yeah.
So I do want to point out what I think is sort of a kind of a weird flavor fail. So you're telling me that it's less acceptable to be hanging out with like a spider duelist than it is with a goblin? Like goblins are just like, yeah, only 1 point on allows with a goblin, but all the duelists are 2. I don't get it. It's just
like kind of skeletons are more unacceptable than the goblins. I feel like the goblins are just as unacceptable.
Yep.
There's clearly like,
which is what we're really saying is these duelist honor hits are just so stupid.
All right, let's talk about the twisted one. I like the twisted one a lot.
Yeah, I mean, copy a battle action is pretty neat, except it's copy their battle actions, but then it removes it, and then you can target their guy with your Yurishi and make a guy, and oh my god, it's a combo deck. Twisted One's just cool. I mean, this is just cool, fun, flavorful design. You're going to play him. When he does what he's supposed to do, you're going to think he's the coolest thing ever. And a lot of times he's actually not going to do that much.
Yeah, I mean, we'll start with the numbers. He's 5 gold for 3 force, which we sort of talk about as the baseline these days, which already gets him into a lot of the baseline Spider military decks. Then he's got this Ninja Battle ability. Taking away an ability is a really powerful ability. And we saw that
with that's the thing here. The copy, so it starts with talking about copy, but that's not actually the headline. The headline is that it's like my first action is remove your action. That's where the value is. That's the powerful part. The fact that you might also then get to bow your guy to do a ranged attack or whatever it is you've copied, that's all just sort of extra sauce. But yeah, removing specific battle abilities is powerful when it works. Like when you shut down the ability from their unique, you're gonna just feel like such a cool guy.
And the only thing about this card is that there's no follow-up, and we've kind of gotten spoiled and used to the idea of these sorts of actions having follow-ups. But you can't win them all. Like I said, he's good on numbers. This battle ability is just straight gravy. This is the kind of guy where like you throw him out there and like your opponent can agonize about him, but you're not making any plans based around his ability.
Yep, it is. It's absolutely a good sort of mental thought process they have to go through, and there's enough battle abilities out there. And if you give the Twisted One a modicum of protection, it's entirely reasonable that you'll copy their force penalty ability or something, and then get to use it, and then that's a big swing. So Twisted One's a very good card, and one of the few cards that I think pushes the ninja deck into like a place of like my ninjas are now just. They're some of my best military personalities. They don't have to just be playing ninja deck.
Absolutely. And a couple of things about this guy. It's a great sneak attack action. Like sneak, take away your Tanshi or something is pretty amazing. The second thing is that he could steal an ability that's already been used to use it again.
Neat. Yeah, it's a copy. Sure,
so
absolutely.
Don't make sure that so if you're playing against Crane and they have their Tanshi that's been used or whatever, make sure that you just don't think you can't take that ability to use it because they've used it already.
Yeah, no. You've used your Tamataka, now I copy, and then I'll use the Tamataka. Absolutely.
That's what I wanted to say. Huh. Okay. Let's pop through to now the Sensei. I love the Sensei because the name is where I want to dump every copy of this card that I get.
Now I feel like we have to extrapolate a little bit because we were fairly positive on the Lion Sensei, and now here we are just kind of very underwhelmed by this. First off, I hate the reduce your honor loss clauses because that means all my stupid guys have honor losses, and I'd rather just not have to deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah, so I give my guy a fear ability equal to his force I don't care. I just don't. It's the fact that I don't get to use the ability right away, the fact that I don't think fear effects equal to force are really all that impressive, the fact that duelists tend to have slightly lower force because they have to have slightly higher chi so that they can win their duels. It's like my box has a fear 4 already. Like, how much more of this effect do I need?
Right. There's so much to hate about this Sensei. We start with the fear effect, and I want to make a broader point about Spider. So Spider is a clan that's filled with not so good people, and as a result, they have a bunch of honor losses. But Mantis is filled with not so good people, and Crab has a number of not so good people. Why is Spider the only clan that gets dumped? The only low honor faction? Scorpion is filled with tons of not so good people.
Scorpion specifically, right? You look at all these sort of and they're willfully joyfully sort of sneaky dishonest bastards, and yet no honor losses.
No honor losses. So I really think this is this weird holdover from Spider being Shadowlands that just needs to go away. They need to stop with Spider get honor losses because it doesn't even, it's not consistent within the world. It doesn't make sense. Anyway.
Yep.
But the interrupt action.
So
talking about the interrupt, we can contrast this with the Lion Sensei. The Lion Sensei just gives you a force bonus right now. It makes your duel better. You duel, you beat them, you get force. Done. +3 force, and now your duelist is harder to kill. This, you duel, and then nothing happens. It's really important to understand that after you use this ability, nothing happens.
And there's something to be said also about increasing the strength of your guy independently, right? It doesn't regardless. If you have just one guy and I duel you, I still gain my +3 force, and that's good. If I duel you and I buy your only guy, suddenly this fair effect doesn't even have any value anyway. So yeah, I mean they're completely different.
Right. I mean the Lion Sensei. So and one way to look at these cards too is that if you play a card like Demonstrating Technique in the limited phase that interrupt with both senseis, the Lion Sensei sets you up for an attack. This Sensei doesn't do anything. This is not a permanent fear. This is such a weak little ability, you'd think it'd give it to him forever. So at least maybe you could start building a Death Star with 10 copies of the fear effect or something. No, nothing like this. Just
well, and that's a point I want to talk about is I said, you have your box. There's diminishing returns to the number of fear effects. There's a reason you don't see a deck that has 8 different Fate Side fear effect cards plus the Stronghold plus a guy. At some point you have enough fear effects and you need other effects.
Hmm.
And I don't feel like what Spider really need to push through as a military faction is like, man, I just need to be able to make 3 more fear effects or 1 more fear 3 effect. That's what I. There are other better
Yeah.
actions, and I feel like I got the stronghold. That's
Yeah.
enough.
That's a great point too. Fear is the most splashed around ability of all the abilities currently out there. And so on
Yep.
the fact that it gives you more fear. If you're in the market for more fear, like let me show you my backstock because we got fear. I got fear coming out my ears. So this is like a lot of work
Right.
for
I
no
mean,
payoff.
Skeletal Troops is 2/2 with a Fear 3 card, and like that's a perfectly fine card. And I'm not gonna say you can't play Skeletal Troops, so that the Fear 3 on Skeletal Troops isn't any good. But like once I have a Skeletal Troops and my Stronghold, I don't think I also want another Sensei triggered off of Skeletal Troops, and the Sensei don't even work together. But I'm sure there's some other high focus, card that gives a crappy fear effect that you could. It's just you only need so much fear.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose a point of province strength. But, I mean, I guess if you're playing Spider Dueling, you'll play the Sensei because why not? And because you have to because of honor losses. So, there you go.
I think this would have been a cool place to throw a callback to Private Dojo. Like interrupt bomb, bump his duel stat by sphere. Like let Spider win a duel. Like come on, who cares? Like oh, it's bully dueling, can't have bully dueling. Who cares?
Who was the Daigatsu Aya, the one that was like when he wins a duel, gain a follower or whatever?
The one that said that the trait all of his duels kill you. I played him in Crane with Sari.
That one too.
With Sayori.
Yeah, it was like
that was a.
But he also, in addition to making all his duels destroy the loser, he also like when you won, you could pay 2 gold and get like a 3/4 follower, right?
That card was so gas. I'm gonna pull it up. Enya, right? Daigatsu Enya.
EI something.
Enya, I think there was an I in there. 0 matches.
It was just EI something. I want to say Iya, but I don't know. I remember the art really well. There was an experience version test of the Emerald Champion. Of that like sort of flaming mask, like something out of Majora's Mask.
Spider. I mean, I know this is sort of like a weird. It was Lotus Edition. I know.
There we go. Daigatsu EIYA is how you spell his last name.
EIYA.
YA.
All right.
During duels involving him, destroy the loser.
Come on.
Show
me the money.
That's a cut. Show me potato salad.
All right, well, this isn't popping up for me. Oracle, man. Oracle loves to troll me. I'll try one more time.
Anyway, I could have used something like that, like make a 3/4 Shadowland Spirit follower after you win a duel. That would have been okay.
Here we go. Let's all take a moment and just remember what Spider Dueling used to be. 6 force, 5 force for 6 gold, 4 cheat. Shadowland Samurai Duelist lose 3 honor. So lose 3 points of honor. Okay, remember that our Kokujin Monk with 2 force has a 2 honor loss. All duels, Aya is involved in destroy the loser. Reaction, pay 2 gold to get a 3 force Shadowland Spirit. And you know what? This card did not see a lot of play in late Lotus.
That's the best part. Even though you had like victory or death, a way to guarantee a duel to kill, like it's like all I can do is play my Fate Side card is just open kill a guy. Like that was barely good enough.
You had Sayori, you had Bao make a duel, and you still didn't play him. So Spider actually has a fairly this card existed before Spider. I'm sure you're saying like, well, Jesse, this isn't a Spider card. Like it's a Spider card. This was like one of the lost that eventually became the Spider.
Sure.
Spider has a pretty rich history in dueling. With like
Sahara, right?
And Aya and Sahara.
So Sahara, who's referenced here on the Sensei, Daigatsu Sahara, came out in Samurai Edition. It was reprinted in Celestials and Experienced Unique. And Sahara's whole thing was that he used his base force as the dual stat, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess the fact that it references force with the fear effect, but I mean, why can't this just be an update of the old Crab Sensei that's like, when you duel, you use your force. Like, would that have been
that'd be
just
super
too
cool
good?
Too. It would have taken Spider doing in a much different direction. Or it could have said your duelists use their force. You can't just play like big Oni.
It would have had to have been an interrupt, right? Yeah, no, it couldn't have been. It couldn't have just been like a blanket thing. It would have had to have been interrupt. You know, if the action creates a duel, your personality uses his force for the duel or something.
It'd be a much
Anyway,
different card. But okay, so we don't like the Sensei. Overall, though, Spider got some cool toys. The ambush guy is great. The undead guy is great. They got. I think Spider did really well with build-arounds and with like filler.
good fillers, yep. So, and it's the same thing we talked a little bit about Lion and Dragon and Matt. It's like if you have just sort of good numbery guys and sort of generically powerful effects, that gives you the wiggle room to massage a deck into a good position.
Yep.
And the Stronghold's still really good, and the format is changing, and I think they stand to benefit from that. Though the upswing in Honor might prove to be a problem. So, anyway, I like Spider. I'm happy with Spider, and I'll build a bunch more Spider decks.
Yeah, we'll see how they do. They were always kept down by this inability to break tempo. I don't know if any of the tools that they got here allow them to do that, but I'm certainly hoping that they do. And the ambush guy is close, right? If you can build a deck that can productively like buy him, and then immediately on their next turn ambush one of their guys, that's a deck that's real.
I agree, and I think ambush guys and do sort of weird kill effects kind of stuff before they get to like attach cards. There's all kinds of neat things happening there. So
okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave us comments. Until next time, I'm Jesse, and that is Paul. That is Paul, and this has been. Oh, excuse me. Enough talk.
Hang loose, everybody.